There's Dr. Pepper in the fridge if you want it.
A Slim Booler.
With OJ.
Does that refresh your memory?
Don't play with OJ!
The 14th.
Yes.
And did OJ Simpson when you and I
Did you get your PlayStation 5 camera yet?
Yes.
Did you get your PlayStation 5 camera yet?
Correct. I got no money. If you could just repeat that. Okay.
So you're not confused. We talked on Tuesday.
Yes.
And my question to you is, when we talked on Tuesday, after reviewing a transcript of
I can make
that
chicken nuggets too.
Does that refresh your memory as to what you remember taking place on Monday?
Yes.
And what do you remember taking place regarding any conversation you had with O.J. Simpson on Monday between 9 and 10 o'clock?
That I said this.
Okay, what did you say?
Shapiro's being all gentle with it.
If you don't remember it, you can read it.
Well, get a piece. It was with the TV on, and there was a lot of people in the house, and I put an arm around him, and everybody was talking kind of to the TV, and it was kind of like everybody in shock.
Did
Porter,
he say
make
he
up your
couldn't believe
fucking
it?
mind, bro. Like,
Oh, don't worry, I got something for that.
I don't remember.
Would you refresh your memory again?
so our new guitar player kind of fucked us up though on Friday. Well, not really, but we can tell he didn't practice. And then we, just the three of us. Oh yeah, and then we formally introduce him, and then he has to cancel today. So it's like whatever. But then guess what? Just the three of us, like fucking played today. We were the tightest we've ever been. So basically, that confirmed that Friday it was Mike that was fucking us up. Even though we played good though, we did play good. We got the most applause. You know, we were the only
new guy's name is Mike too.
Yeah, Mike Napoli. Yeah, Mike. That's all I was trying to say. Like we traded one mic. We traded one mic for another. Yeah, it's more. So you have like Mike D and Mike N. They're both Italian. You know. Mike Napoli.
Michael. We all name him Michael.
We call him Mikey. That's his nickname for us. Mikey. And he's good. He's a fucking insane guitar player. He just needs to practice, just like everyone else. That's what it comes down to.
So the only team that's set up right now is LA, and
did he get out?
It's missing. Fucking Marsha is missing in action. Oh shit! Their first game is with Colorado. I have to make.
Yeah, Nick Marsha's asked the goalie, bro.
No, check the lineup. All right, watch this. The dude and Marsha are the only ones missing, which makes it kind of funny. We should put them on a different team.
There was some talking like, to the TV set.
Who'd you have plays the black dude, the black prosecutor?
Comments going on.
The team. So it's Big Lebowski mixed with the trial.
Were you alone?
Jesus Rolls is their goalie. I can change that to Big Lebowski or Jesus Saves.
No, there's always people around.
George Lance, Ito, Grant, Smokey, Carl Douglas. Oh, and then Jackass is involved. No. Steve-O, Donnie, Johnny Knoxville, LaBonnie, Flea, OJ, Bam Margera, Carl Hungus, Party Boy, Shapiro, Maud, Mr. Johnny, DeFino, The Stranger, Sobchak.
Learn that.
Barry Sheck, Sobchak and Barry Sheck.
On the
Bailey.
Night of.
That's a team right there.
The murders. You told us that
and then let's just make community so I can play that first game.
Did you also express
that one did pretty good.
knowledge that he had said his feet were stiff?
Oh, shit. Oh, man, dude.
This, he might have had his feet on the table.
This really sucks. Like,
in the nook area. I could have said that.
It's about Ghost of Yote.
Would refresh
So,
your memory,
they just came out with the raid, like
on page 8, right
you know,
at the
but
middle
like
of the page.
you know, to raid you need 4 people, but you can't just like randomly lobby in with people. Like you have to like actually assemble your own squad for the raids. Okay. So like I've been like, I don't know anyone else who plays. You know, I have no friends who play. Fucking and like and the people on Ghost of Yote are a lot meaner and a lot are not as cool as they were on Ghost of Tsushima. Like the people who played that game, they were polite. They were good. They were good teammates. You know, like I'm talking like every other person I played with in Ghost of Tsushima. Before we would start the game, they would turn to me and they would do a bow, and we would bow to each other before we would start the mission.
Yes, that was.
And that would just set a precedent. Like, okay, this respect.
I know what it's like to be stiff. So, yes, his feet were sore.
We just need to find anybody who's on community.
And stiff.
Professor Vicky.
So I've been hitting this at 0 for like a week now, and I still have no idea how there's juice in it.
Did you,
And I know I'm not hitting perks. I had Rick taste it. I was like, please, just. And then he was
Tell
like,
me if I'm.
no, he was hesitant to. He was like, because he's been there before. And then he hits it. He goes,
Gross.
but then he goes, no, that's still pretty good, man.
saying that you
I
told
was
the
like, okay.
detectives it's probably nothing?
I had Rag Eye check one for me like that once.
That was probably not.
Yeah, I remember I checked for you once. I'm like, oh, that's bad, bro.
And
I believe it was the. Do you have like it was like that flavor that you had that would give me like a cavity whenever I would like vape it. It was like super sweet.
Heard the noise.
All the ones I have are the super sweet
saw
ones.
O.J. Simpson.
But like it was like blueberry jam.
Yeah,
it was,
orange jam.
Yes.
Fucking raspberry jam.
Oh, you get the jam ones.
Yeah, I always do. That's all I get.
Yeah, on that. Can I say something?
Was that your answer 3 to 5 minutes later?
Like this one's at.
I'm going to let him explain it. I just want to know if that was his answer first.
4. You tell me how it tastes.
Yes.
Right. Would you like to offer a further explanation?
Yes.
What is that?
On
Pretty
that
sweet.
was 3 to 5 minutes.
So,
But that's
was,
good though. But like
my
it's
part
I'm
of
not
the,
saying they're bad.
And the rest that I
You know,
finished up that's when I
It's
was
just like a
talking
different
to,
kind of sweet. That's
to
just
Rachel,
like,
and that's what I thought
I
at the
would
time
just get
was the
sick of this
question
really fast.
was on the-
I guess is all. Here.
where it says that it was me saying, so I hung up
Which
the
was it,
phone
raspberry?
with Rachel.
Raspberry.
talking
That one's
on
actually pretty
page.
good.
it's the best.
That one's good.
Would you look at page 18? It's on
That one's
page
better
18.
than the blueberry one.
Yeah, I know.
My
You want to try
question
the
to you
orange?
is how
Is
much
that
time
99?
elapsed between
Wait, there's
hearing the
orange
noise
jam?
and
Yeah,
seeing OJ?
I never run out anymore,
Referring
so
to
I don't have to have
O.J.
anyone
Simpson.
check for me.
Right.
Do you see where that is?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do.
And do you see what your answer is?
Oh, you still got the fucking thing on it.
Yeah. I never take
Yeah,
that
it's-
off. No
Does that
biggie.
refresh
I don't
your memory
care.
as
I
to
don't
what
care.
That's part of it.
It was getting like.
This
it
is
was
part of
getting-
my OCD,
What-
man.
what
That's
did-
all.
I was-
Sorry.
What did you say on Tuesday?
Keeps it
That's my
cleaner.
question.
That I was.
It was
The
getting pretty.
protector that's just the plastic is the protector, man. It
It
sticks
says
for
about
as long
3 to
as it
5 minutes.
sticks, dude.
What else does it say?
You don't pull that one.
It's meant to be pulled
That's
off.
when I ran out of
No.
the limo. And I told her immediately that I told her I gotta check this out, check out this noise. I talked to her for maybe
I
another
don't know.
minute or so, convincing myself that I was gonna go out.
Call it class, okay? Have a little class. Keep it smooth.
Did you
You
notice
put it back
at
on?
any time,
Yes, I did.
The wrong way, son.
That's not the wrong. That's how it was on before.
No, it always goes over the color. But nice try.
It goes over mine. Mine goes over the screen. Whenever I get it, it goes
Yeah?
over. It goes over the screen. Usually, because that's the thing that's got to get protected.
Yeah,
You know?
regarding the blood that was pointed out.
Not for the jams.
Do you know whether or not that blood was there on Saturday?
No.
Who's going to the Yotes? Is there any dogs on this team? I just made Elias Grover, so now I have clerks.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, so Jay's last name is J and.
Yeah.
And then Silent Bob is the goalie. Kevin Smith. I gotta make Silent Bob. He can't be 2 people. Yes, he can. Dude.
Yes, he can't. Because he is 2 people.
Yeah, next
two
season.
people.
Next season's Jay's gonna have to play by
When
himself.
you last saw O.J. Simpson,
Because I'm not.
Did you?
You can have him on the same team. Why not?
Because I have to create
index finger
Silent Bob. I've only created Kevin
Did you see
Smith.
any bleeding
The real
on
Kevin
his index
Smith.
finger to
He's
his
the goalie.
left hand?
So
No.
that
Did
would
you
be
see
natural
any
that Silent
bandage
Bob would be
on
the other
his index
defenseman.
finger to his left hand?
You just gotta
No.
make the same guy.
Yeah, because that would make sense because Kevin Smith is behind the cammer, so he's the goalie behind the net.
I'm talking about the middle.
And then he's also.
I guess.
Still no.
So for the same questions, you'd say, give the same answers for the middle finger.
But for this first season, they can't play at the same time because
Yes.
Kevin has to film
Have you seen any photographs?
Jay doing the dance scene.
Pictures depicting Mr. Simpson's left hand on that night or the next day?
Did I see?
Have you seen any photographs?
So I always
Yes.
trade the
Any
shittiest
photographs?
guy.
Did you see his finger in that condition at 11 o'clock on the night that
It
he left
wasn't
for
bleeding.
Chicago?
Yeah, it was bleeding. You got it. He's gonna say it wasn't bleeding. That's what's gonna piss
Maybe we
Marshall
put the
off.
photograph up on the Elmo, the People's Exhibit.
She's already objecting.
Sorry.
OJ's running it over there, dude. He's running that
Who
whole
showed you a
show.
picture of
I
the
know he is.
defendant's left hand?
You don't gotta tell me.
No one showed me. It was.
Like,
I
I personally
had an interview.
watched.
The defendant's left hand
Like
in
I
my
always,
office.
granted,
It
I
was,
fell asleep during
on
some of it,
table.
and I had to go back and rewatch it. But like,
what
I watched
table?
this whole
On
fucking
your
trial.
desk.
just 'cause
And how did you
I'm
want me to go
going
over on my
so
desk and
crazy
see it?
that I'm
I was
listening to the
sitting there
audiobook to sleep.
when
And then during
we were
waking
talking
hours,
was right there.
Was I there?
Yes.
And
Doing the
what
trial
was
like it's
the, were we
1995.
discussing the photograph?
You're just,
No.
just really
Was I
Yeah,
telling
like
someone
it's
else about the
1995.
photograph?
No.
That's my
Yeah.
only. They didn't give us
Yes.
time travel. It's the only.
And can you
way
describe
I
what you
can
were
do
able
it.
to see?
I could just see it was a picture of a finger.
Okay, and how close were you to that photograph?
Probably what this paper is.
For the record.
There's Uptight LC with Nantucky.
Okay. And how much detail were you able to see of that photograph? Can you describe it now for us?
Not much detail. I just knew it was a finger, a picture of a finger.
Harmon's crew.
And so if you were to be shown several pictures of a man's finger, would you know which one it was? Could you pick it out?
Say the question again?
If you were to be shown several photographs of a man's middle finger with a cut on it, could you pick which one it was that you saw on my desk?
No.
To this day, do you have an independent recollection of exactly how that finger looked?
No.
Oh,
On that photograph?
No.
Now he doesn't know.
Mr. Shapiro?
Niles Crane. That looks like a trade. The Big Lebowski.
Is she getting him right now?
Yeah, because he's in the. Yeah, he's wearing that. I know by the blazer. That's when she snaps on him.
Cross.
She's about to go. Yeah.
Hostile witness.
Yeah. She's gonna say it too.
I'm going to show you two photographs. So now they've been marked
Asshole.
People's
Who, Kato?
Exhibit
No, I mean, it's just like,
123.
I don't blame
People's
him
Exhibit.
for what happened, but at the same time, it's like, dude, that was your friend, man, and you chose the wrong
Right.
side, brother. Like, shame on you, you know? You had, I mean, fine, it was a tough choice, you know? Like, I don't know what I would have done in that position.
Ask you to look at
I would
those
like to say I would have done
photographs.
the right thing, but I really don't know. That's a wild thing to be thrown into, you know? I just wish he would have made the better decision. I
On
guess.
June 12th at 11 o'clock, did you see OJ's finger in that condition?
She just keeps objecting. She's like, shut
No.
Shapiro down.
Did you observe whether or not, did you observe him as he entered the limousine?
No.
Did you observe him just prior to entering the limousine?
I saw him.
Was he sweating?
I couldn't tell.
He previously answered to that question he was not?
Jesus saves.
Is that a question? I'm
No,
sorry.
you testified before the grand jury on page 93, line 6, 7, and 8.
So catching with a lie right out.
Recall Miss Clark asking you a question. When you saw him later that night and he was getting into the limo, he was getting ready to go, did he seem hot or sweaty?
Yeah, he was like hot as hell, dude.
Yes,
now he doesn't remember again.
Let me show you that question and answer on your grand jury transcript.
So he answered this question already.
Yes.
As to what your answer, and does that refresh your memory as to what his condition was?
He did not say no.
Not yet.
He's going back on what he said.
Right.
Right now
Right.
he is.
No.
Hold on. Finish your question and answer.
Does that refresh your memory as to what his condition was, whether he was hot or sweaty on that evening, getting into the limousine?
Now they're like...
Yes.
Is there anything else on
You
that
don't remember
page
right.
that would help you in that area?
Can I read it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That is right. They want him to be like, oh, yeah. Now I remember. But...
He doesn't do it.
Right, because he's not that good of an actor.
It's
Hollywood. All you have to do is act, Kato. But he can't do it because that was his friend, like you said.
Correct.
So it's just like caught in the middle.
Read the whole
question?
page to the jury.
It's a question. When you saw him later that night and he was getting into the limo, he was getting ready to go. Did he seem sweaty or hot? Answer, no. Question, you don't recall that? Answer, I don't recall that.
Slow down.
Oh. Next question was, were you sweaty or hot at that time? Answer, no. Question, at any time that night? Answer, no.
Okay, I think that completes the area on the examination. Thank you very much. Nothing further.
Let's start.
Go ahead and read a couple more lines there.
Keep reading.
Read along with me.
Keep reading. Read along with me.
Did I ask you then, did you, at the point when Mr. Simpson was
You think
getting
you're
ready to
gonna
leave
run
for
my
the airport, did you
transcript
get a
on me?
close look at him in the light? Answer,
No.
Your answer was no, is that correct?
Yes,
She's been
that's correct.
nailing him across
And then you
this
said, I
left
mean,
and
it
right.
was dark outside
The
and the
last one
house
was the
wasn't, the
dog
lights were
getting
probably
invested.
not, it wasn't lit up, the house. You recall giving that answer?
Yes,
Is that correct?
yes,
Question, and you had contact with him, would you call it brief or would you call it lengthy at that point? And your answer, it was rushed. Yeah. You recall giving that answer?
yes,
Then I asked you, did you spend a lot of time trying to observe him at that point? And your answer, no. You recall that being your answer?
yes,
And is that correct?
yes,
And did you make any effort to observe the defendant's hands as he was getting ready to leave for the airport in the limousine?
no.
How much time did you spend with the defendant from the moment you saw him by the limousine until he left for the airport?
Brief. From the time that he... Say the question again?
From the time you saw him standing near the limousine till the time he left for the airport, how much time elapsed between those 2 points?
Total about 5 minutes.
And during that 5 minutes, what was on your mind, foremost on your mind?
The noise that I had heard.
Were you making any effort to carefully observe the defendant's hands?
No,
Or his face?
no,
Or his body?
no,
Were you looking and watching him?
no.
Do you remember seeing a Bronco at any time on June the 12th?
No,
Was that something that you would have made any effort to observe?
no.
Was the Bronco pretty much a fixture at the Rockingham location?
Yes,
Something you saw every day?
yes,
If it had been parked, I think you indicated earlier that it was normally parked on Ashford.
yes.
And how do you know that?
Because I wouldn't always park my car in Ashford, and I always park it by the Bronco. So normally my car would be on Ashford by the Bronco.
And did you going to your car, was that a daily occurrence for you when you lived on Rockingham?
Yes,
So it would be a daily occurrence that you could observe the Bronco parked on Ashford as well.
if it was there, yes.
And so is it your testimony, sir, that you normally observe the Bronco parked on Ashford?
Yes.
Can you tell us when you saw it parked somewhere else and where?
It could be in the driveway. And
When would it be in the driveway?
I don't know. But finish your answer.
Gigi sometimes, if she went to the market, it would be in the driveway. She'd be ready to take it. So it was in the driveway once, and I had to help her move it because she couldn't do it, but
So you
most of
remember-
the time it would be on Ashford.
Okay. So you remember once it was in the driveway when Gigi had taken it to the store?
Yeah, I mean, it was more than once in the driveway, a few times,
In
but
Ottawa. With Ian.
the percentage-wise, mostly on Ashford.
And what percentage is that?
85 to 90% usually in Ashford.
Okay. Do you have any specific recollection of when you ever saw it parked on Rockingham? Other than June the 13th?
I mean, I don't remember it, no. It could have been, but I don't remember it on Rockingham.
Now, you spent about a week, I think it was your testimony you indicated you spent a week with Nicole in Aspen?
Yes.
And then was it the following month that you met her at the party at her house on Gretna Green?
Yes.
I think you indicated to Mr. Shapiro on cross-examination that the defendant was never upset about Nicole dating other men. Do you recall saying that?
Yes.
Is that what you believe? Is that the truth, Mr. Kalin?
He never let on that he was upset about her dating.
October 25th, 1993. You recall coming home to the Gretna Green location and seeing the defendant outside the house.
There you
Yes.
are. You're with
And
John
did you see
and
his car parked out front?
the producer,
Which car was that?
Scott's producer,
The Bronco.
Kurt
The white
Vile,
Bronco?
Doug's
The white
guy.
Bronco.
And where was it parked?
It was in front of the Gretna Green driveway, the flasher front.
Was it parked in the street?
It was in the street.
Nancy
Blocking the
Spungen, though,
driveway?
look out.
Yes, part of the driveway.
And Cray
Yes.
Cray, she's keeping her
Was
in
it
check.
was it out in the street
Morello,
as opposed to
Britt.
being next to the curb?
Yes.
Nice.
So the Bronco was parked out in the street, blocking the driveway with the
15?
flashers going when you got there. Is that right?
Yes.
And when you got to the house, what could you hear?
There was yelling.
Yes.
Who was yelling?
OJ.
What was
Yelling
he
Yelling loud?
about?
Yes.
And who was he yelling at?
Nicole.
Of course.
And where was
Who
he?
else?
Well, there was some movement, but it was at usually the back of the French doors. I don't know if you have a picture, but it's the guest house at Gretna Green was behind, and 15 feet would be the French doors to the den area.
Mm-hmm.
And he was yelling from there.
So he was yelling behind the house, behind the French doors?
Well, the doors are open, so
Can't
yeah.
be Annie's
It was.
NIA.
Yeah, step in and then out.
Those doors were not just open, were they, Mr. Kale? They were broken open, weren't they?
Yes.
The lock was broken, wasn't it?
Yes.
And what was the defendant yelling
There she
about?
is.
There was an argument about pictures that was up in Nicole's house.
Picture of someone she used to date, isn't it?
Someone she dated.
And the defendant was very upset about seeing that picture in her photo book, wasn't he?
Sustained. First question.
Was the defendant angry and upset about seeing the photograph of someone she had been dating in that book?
Sustained. First question.
What was the defendant upset about with regard to that photograph, Mr. Kalin?
Sustained. Rephrase the question.
What the fuck?
Didn't the witnesses testify?
How about we start from the basic, what he was upset about?
Powwow time? No.
You indicated, sir, that there was an argument about pictures, didn't you?
Yes.
All right. And that was a picture of who?
I don't know who the picture was, which person it was exactly.
In general, who was it? What was it?
A guy.
Overruled.
What kind of guy?
Overruled.
What kind of guy can you?
What did the defendant tell you?
Baz Radish.
Oh, it was a boyfriend. Former boyfriend.
Of Nicole's.
Yes.
And why was he upset? Why did he
Yeah.
tell you he was upset about seeing that photograph in her book?
Because I thought at that time they had a semi-commitment where his pictures were down of girls, that her pictures should be down.
Is that what he told you?
That's what the argument was.
And how angry was he that day, Mr. Kalin?
Angry. He was yelling.
Angry.
The police came.
Angry.
Would you say he was very angry?
Angry enough for the police to come.
Anytime
Yes.
OJ's angry, though, it's gonna look very angry. To be fair to Kato, there's Baz. Anybody hiding out with him? Jay is over there. Now that's a game. Dude, we got a game. But Marsha's MIA.
And then in Christmas of 1993.
You know what? Maybe I didn't give Marsha her stats.
You recall that there
She's not
was
in there.
an argument that night also.
Yes.
And I believe you testified on cross-examination that you went to the Jenner's house for that party with the defendant and Nicole and their children. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then you testified shortly after arriving there, Nicole said it's time to go.
Yes.
Before she said that, sir, did you see a gentleman by the name of Joseph Perulli enter the house?
I think he was already in the house.
Yes, before you left.
Oh, yes, before he left.
And was it shortly after he entered the house that Nicole said it's time to go?
Yes.
And who is Joseph Perulli?
An ex-boyfriend.
Of Nicole's?
Of Nicole's.
And after she said, come on, let's go, did you all go back in the car?
Yes.
And once you were all in the car, did the defendant say something to Nicole?
There was something going on, yes. There was an argument. And it was, I guess, about him being there.
About Joseph Perulli being
Joseph.
there?
I don't know what his last name, but that might have been it. I didn't know his last name.
OJ.
The defendant, was he angry with Nicole?
Yes.
Was he angry about Joseph Perulli being there?
Yes.
Yes.
And what did he say to her?
Many
I don't know
bad
the
things.
dialogue, but it was
Right,
like,
I don't want to repeat it.
That he was at the party and he shouldn't have been.
Let's say the least.
Did Nicole invite him to the party?
I don't know who invited him.
Who gave that party?
The Jenners.
And you indicated that they were also talking about some flowers that had been delivered for the defendant?
Yeah, I don't know the exact story on the flowers, but an ex-girlfriend, I thought, delivered flowers to OJ.
Those flowers from Paula?
I think so.
So was the defendant yelling at Nicole on the way home from the party?
Sustain. Rephrase the question.
How was the defendant behaving with Nicole on the way home from the party?
Well,
verbally abusive.
there was yelling, and it was off because there were children back, and we were back, and we were saying it's Christmas Eve, so it kind of refrained from the yelling in the car.
So they tried to keep it down in the car?
It's Christmas.
Yeah,
OJ, it's Christmas.
Excited.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And then
Save the yelling for
when
another
they got
day.
home.
You can't do that, OJ. It's Christmas.
And when they got home, they had dinner?
We all had dinner.
And how was Mr. Simpson and Nicole behaving during that dinner?
Well, the fighting wasn't going on. It was quiet. It was Christmas
The fighting
Eve, very quiet.
stopped because it was Christmas. Remember?
Do you recall making a statement to the effect that there was no talking for those two during that dinner?
There was no talking. Right.
There was no
started
talking.
out the way
We just sat at
think
the
at the
dinner
very end,
table, staring at each other.
of the
There was
Christmas
that's
Eve
what I
present
meant.
opening.
There was no talking.
For the children?
Yeah, we're shooting a video, and
littering and
Was the defendant speaking to Nicole during the dinner?
no,
Was Nicole speaking to the defendant during the dinner?
yeah.
no, I don't believe so.
He
No,
called her
during the grand jury
B-I-T-C-H.
testimony that you gave in this case,
Over and over again.
counsel page 52. Do you recall my asking you whether or not you had ever observed the defendant and Nicole have a fight or an argument?
Yes, but I wish I don't.
Yes.
And do you recall what your answer was to that question?
During the prelim?
Can you show me?
First, I want to ask you.
I think we talked about what we just talked about. There was a 911 call.
Where did I put my badge?
Did you tell me at that time that there was a 911 call?
I believe so.
Pop the rest
show
of
you
those
the page, Mr.
chicken
Taylor.
nuggets in.
I asked you to point out to me
There's
where
a
you said there was a
clean pan right
911
there.
call.
Staying. Want to
You
rephrase
want-
your
I'm
question?
trying to find another controller. You want to play the soccer game?
I'm alright, man. I was just getting ready to know.
Do you recall my asking you before the
I
grand
mean, I'm
jury
down to watch
whether
it
you
play, though.
ever saw the defendant and Nicole argue or fight?
No, that's fine. You can be commentary.
I'm sorry.
I also don't know.
Who
if
should I
Did I see them
Who
fight?
are you rooting for in
No,
this
I'm
game?
asking you. Do you
Colorado,
recall being
man.
asked the question
Yeah, all
that's shown
day.
in that?
Yes.
I don't like
Yes.
the Kings. Never
And
liked
you
the
see
Kings.
your answer in that transcript?
Yet I saw that there was one.
I've always had a soft spot for the
That
Colorado
there was one. And
Avalanche.
where in that transcript do you see that you told me that there was a 911
I don't know
call
why.
as a
And
result of
check it
that
out.
argument
Since
or
it's
fight?
community,
I like that.
guess what jersey they rock, right? Over.
No, no, but that's a speaking objection.
That one
Apparently,
or
Franklin.
that one
Curious to
or
disregard that comment. Ms. Clark.
Mr. Kamen, did you not just tell
There's
me
another
that
C.
you recall testifying to
That
the
one?
fact that there was a 911 call to before the grand
we're gonna
jury?
go this one. Wait,
Triangle.
you like the triangle?
Alternate.
Do you recall testifying to that just now, sir?
There's a 911 call?
It is. Alright, you gotta pick their jersey. Let's
Okay.
go old school 90s with them though. Yeah. With the purple one.
They used to be purple. Really?
They might not have the 90s purple ones. Let's see. No, 90s didn't have purple.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the Lakers, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Was that too close?
Do you recall, now, did you tell me in response to the question I posed to you before the grand jury as to whether or not you'd ever seen defendant and Nicole argue or fight?
Yes.
Do you recall did you tell me that there was a 911 call as a result of that fight?
It doesn't say it on there.
Did you tell me, and did I ask you also before the grand jury, do you recall the nature of the argument or just that it was one?
It's gotta be the 90s.
Do you recall what your answer was?
That there was an argument?
Refresh your recollection of this answer on line 19.
That I said that it was one.
That it was one.
Right. Just so I know, that's the one I was talking about was the 911, I believe.
Mm-hmm. But you didn't say that there.
No.
And when I asked you, do you recall the nature of the argument or just that it was one? You did not tell me that you came home to find the defendant screaming behind the house and that the police were called, did you?
Sustained.
Did you give me any of the information about
What
the
the hell
police
is
being
Kirk
called
Hammett
when I
doing
asked
on
you
this
about the
team?
nature of that argument?
We gotta get rid of some peeps.
Oh, whoa.
Gotta get rid of some peeps.
You can answer the question.
Please ask it again.
He snuck
Did
his
you
way
tell
on. And
the grand jury when I
Looks like
asked
he
you
stuck his
the
way to
question about the
Metallica.
nature of the argument, sir? Did you tell the grand jury that you had heard the defendant screaming behind the house and that the police were called?
Get his ass over
He
where
was
he
asked.
belongs. Okay, everyone who
I don't
doesn't
remember
belong
that.
here.
You don't
Where
remember
are we
saying
at?
that?
No, because I would have said
And
that.
did you see that in the
Colorado.
transcript here?
Yes.
Where you said that the police were called?
No, it doesn't say that in there.
Kirk, Steven Tyler, you
Well,
guys are so high
about
that
the
you
nature
thought
of that
you went to
argument?
the right team. stadium.
Did you respond to that question before the grand jury? That OJ called Nicole a bitch?
I mean, Steven Tyler can stay, yo.
That I said that?
Yes,
Right.
yes,
Did
your
you ever
flight
tell us to do
does, your
Did
flight
you
papers
respond
here do show
to the question
that you
concerning the
landed at
nature?
LAX.
Wait.
But this is
Let me see
not your
council
team's
sidebar
stadium.
report, please.
And these tickets are from 6 months ago. There's a whole movie about like how they made it to opening season after the last season. They just hung out together. They relapsed together, Kirk and Steven.
That'd be fucked up.
They absconded together.
It'd be a weird duo to see real life
Yeah,
together.
no, that's why they went to somewhere crazy like Belize, where they wouldn't get spotted. They went to somewhere really remote.
Believe that's exactly where they would get spotted.
No,
though.
fine, let's not go Belize. Alright,
It's like
hold on, Siberia. Let's go Siberia.
So this one just go hide in a shack
Just
and
hide,
just,
yeah, or Alaska.
and
Somewhere
just,
in the
just
deep
pull,
wilderness.
just pull a Hetfield and just fucking just drink his.
No, there could be like a legendary lore about some like huge rock star that built like this huge relapse fucking mansion that had everything in it.
I think that already exists. It's got to exist already.
Probably. Alright, so Kirk, they can't be traded together. Well, yes, they can. Kirk belongs in Anaheim because it's Metallica and Grateful Dead.
You can council proceed.
So, anybody from community? Anybody out there? Phyllis?
Madam Court Reporter, do you need to change paper?
Oh, it's Spencer who's missing. Alright, trade one by one. Who's coming with me though? Phyllis. Just because.
During the Christmas of '93 argument, do you recall
No, Steven belongs in
discussing that
Edmonton.
matter with Mr. Shapiro?
Wait, yeah, that's where I put all my pairs.
I
Rock duos.
probably did.
Steven belongs with Joe Perry.
Now, when Mr. Shapiro on June 14th interviewed you, do you recall him asking you the following question? During the time that you were living at the residence with Nicole and OJ, did you ever see them get into any type of fight? You recall that?
Yes.
Hey, Kelly Kapoor.
And then you asked, when I was living on Gretna Green, do you recall that?
Yes.
And that was a question you were asking him.
Okay.
You remember that?
Yes.
And then he answered yes.
Yes.
And then you went into, you immediately responded. Tell me if you recall responding as follows. I never saw them fighting. The only one occasion was when I drove in. I didn't see the fight, but there was an argument going on. And I got there and said, you guys don't be fighting and shouting like that. And I brought OJ to my guest house in back. And when he was in the guest house in back, before I knew, there was police there. So obviously someone had made a call. Do you recall telling him all that?
Yes.
And when I asked you before the grand jury, did you ever observe them to argue or fight? Your answer was, I saw them close and I saw maybe an argument. And I asked him, where was that? You said on Gretna Green. And when I asked you, do you recall the nature of the argument or just that it was one, you recall giving the response that it was one. And then I asked, was that the only time you ever saw an argument between them? And you answered yes. You recall that?
Yes.
So you didn't tell me about a fight on Christmas Eve, did you?
No, I'll tell you what.
Sustain the phrase question.
Did you tell me about a fight on Christmas Eve when I asked you about the argument, whether you observed them to argue or fight?
I'm sorry, hold on, Mr. Kelly. I think I need to ask you to be a little more precise in the language because we're differentiating here between arguments and physical confrontations, aren't we?
I was asking the question in the generic, it's probably, I think, Mr. Shapiro as well. See what?
Well, I mean, then it's a vague question because there are verbal fights and there are physical fights.
But the point is the difference in the response.
Well,
it's a really vague question.
I'm just asking you to be a little more precise.
Okay. I'm just quoting my own question. There are rules on it.
By the way, what was the date of the grand jury proceeding?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Pleasure, Master. Frankie. They were both hiding out in St. Louis. Okay. I could have traded them both at the same time. Here we go. Get rid of the brat. And Tom Grant. No, wait. That's Kelly and Phyllis. Okay. Now the team's together. Bobby Hill's gotta go.
All right, Ms. Clark, do you have much more?
Yes, Your Honor.
What's your time estimate at this point? What's your time estimate at this point?
About half an hour.
Fatashnik.
All right, let's finish. Master Reporter, are you okay?
When I asked you before the grand jury in June of 1994, that'd be June 20th of 1994, after your June 14th interview with Mr. Shapiro, when I asked you, did you ever observe them to argue or fight, did you tell me about the Christmas Eve argument?
No, I did not. Can I say something?
You can?
When this was going on with the grand jury and everything was happening, there'd be nothing I'd hide from you. My mind was with everything that if I remember something, I would have told you about 911 call and all that
Stop
sort
while
of
you're
thing.
at Cato.
But it wasn't something I wasn't trying to not tell you. Because I know if it's a 911 call, that it'd be a report.
Don't put anything out
so
there.
There's nothing
Just answer her
I tried to hide from you about any of the fights. There was so much. I had so much time. I was in front of all these people. So then I remember more, and that's when we had these meetings. I would tell you stuff that I remember something else.
That's why you're going to be declared
So are you
hostile.
telling us now that you felt intimidated by the grand jury, Mr. Kamen?
Overruled.
Overruled.
You can answer the question.
I don't know if intimidated is the word, but I try to remember everything that I could.
Do you remember telling me, Mr. Kalin, that you had thought being in front of the grand jury would be intimidating, but it turned out to be just a bunch of old guys in fishing caps?
Yes. But I was...
He made his way home, dude.
Not real intimidating.
Marsha is still hanging out somewhere.
I was looking at you. I was just in a room that I've never been to court.
Okay. She's like, okay.
But when Mr. Shapiro asked you the question,
is Darden there? Or she's wherever Darden is.
as to whether you saw Nicole and OJ, did you ever see them getting into any type of fight?
Darden with Marsha, dude.
You told him about the incident on Gretna Green where the 911 call was placed.
They're going to be on Kurt's.
You told him about the police arriving, didn't you?
With Kristen.
Yes.
You told him about the fight on Christmas Eve, didn't you?
Yes.
Kurt's dream team.
Well,
Argument.
I think
Argument. I'm sorry.
the jury knows the distinction between the two. Yes.
Now, do you also recall discussing with Mr. Shapiro during that June 14th interview how Nicole felt about you moving out to live at Rockingham instead of staying with her on Bundy?
Upset with me.
Do you recall telling him about that?
Yes. That
Go ahead.
O.J. was manipulating me.
Dude, no one can go, really. Yeah, Party Boy can leave. All the boys are going to have their own team this year.
June 20th was the testimony before the grand jury.
All right.
And for Marsha, who will leave?
And do you recall that there was an agreement at one point that Michelle was to leave the house whenever Nicole was around?
Yes.
Do you recall that there was an argument that after that slap that you referred to, Michelle made a derogatory remark about the children, Justin and Sydney?
Yes.
And Michelle did not leave the residence that day, did she?
No.
You also recall that Michelle was the one who opened the door to let the defendant into the room to beat Nicole in 1989?
Objection.
That was Edmonton.
Yes.
Frank goes to Washington. Oh, wow. She's about to declare him. Treat him for Greg Turkington.
Last question answered to Mr. Kalin regarding his knowledge as to events in 1989. If you recollect, Mr. Kalin has testified, and it appears to be undisputed in the record, that Mr. Kalin was not acquainted with anybody in this case until January of 1992. I've sustained the objection to the case. You are to completely disregard the implication suggested by that question. There are some other matters I need to take up. I don't know if the bailiffs had told you, but we are going to be dark as far as this case is concerned tomorrow. I have 2 other cases I have on my calendar that I anticipate are going to take the full day for me to handle, plus some other matters on this case, so we will not be in session tomorrow. We will stand in recess now as far as the jury is concerned until 9 a.m. Monday morning. Please remember all of my admonitions to you. Don't discuss the case amongst yourselves. Don't form any opinions about the case. Do not conduct any deliberations till the matter has been submitted to you. Do not allow anybody to communicate with you with regards to the case. Mr. Kalin, you may step down. You are ordered to return Monday morning, 8:45. All right? Thank you, sir. Also, do not discuss your testimony with anybody except for the attorneys in the case and your own counsel.
Thank you.
All right. All right, we'll stand in recess for 15 minutes, and then I'll see counsel on the discovery matters.
jurors rejoin us. Mr.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'd like permission to address the court regarding appropriate sanctions for conduct that took place last Thursday. Can I do that? Your Honor, we suggest stringent sanctions be imposed for the unprofessional conduct that arose at the end of our session on Thursday. The reason that we think the sanction should be severe is this is not an isolated incident, but it is becoming a continued course of conduct. And it seems to happen at about the same time and with the same frequency at the end of the court week. The court, I'm sure, will recall last week we ended with testimony about a plastic bag in the back of the Bronco. And the jury was left with the impression over the weekend that there was something sinister to having this. They then started the session on Monday by pointing out themselves that this was standard equipment that was used only for the spare tire on the truck. The conduct was wanton and willful, in my opinion, on Thursday when a bad faith question was twice that day had to admonish counsel for conduct that was in violation of the court's regulations the prior week. And then there was a sidebar where there was a specific admonition by the court not to bring up a certain incident regarding Michelle Abduran and the fact that Nicole Simpson slapped her. Then finally, a question was asked about a 1989 incident. I have reviewed extensively all the materials regarding Mr. Kalin, and not once in any questions that have been brought up by counsel for either side or any investigator were any questions asked regarding his knowledge of a 1989 incident or anything that was alluded to by counsel by way of redirect examination. Giving the jury the impression that Mr. Kalin was aware of an incident in 1989 is bad enough, but actually saying that he knew of this incident when counsel well knew that there was no relationship between Mr. Kalin, Nicole Brown Simpson, and Mr. O.J. Simpson until 1992. And then highlighting in a loud tone of voice what was presumed to be a fact, that Michelle opened the door to allow a beating in 1989 is a serious transgression. We believe the jury should be made aware of the seriousness of this transgression, and we would suggest a sanction that would allow the jury to consider why the prosecutor in this case would act in such an unprofessional manner and what motivation they would have to bring forth to the attention of the jury for the weekend a fact that they know could not and should not have been brought to their attention. We believe there is ample evidence within the record of past conduct as well as a continued course of conduct on Thursday to warrant these sanctions. And we would urge the court to direct the jury's attention to this.
Do you have any proposed language for an instruction?
Your Honor, I will write some out, but I would say that suggest to the jury the following. that at the end of the session on Thursday, counsel for the prosecution engaged in misconduct before this court. The court has sanctioned the prosecutor for that misconduct, and the jury is not only to disregard any suggestions made by the prosecutor in asking the question, but may also consider the motivation for the prosecutor in deliberately engaging in unprofessional conduct.
All right, thank you, Counsel. People wish to be heard.
Yes, Your Honor, briefly. First of all, Your Honor, I'm here before the court this morning to admit my culpability in all of this. It was I who handed Ms. Clark a question on a piece of paper, asking her to ask Mr. Kalin if he had knowledge of the fact that Michelle Abduran, the maid back in 1989, had opened the door to her quarters, allowing the defendant access to the room and allowing him access to Nicole on January 1, 1989. We have evidence and information from a witness that we have interviewed, that I have interviewed personally, who claims that Michelle Abduran told her that this is what occurred. Mr. Shapiro asked Mr. Kalin on numerous occasions questions regarding the defendant's relationship with Nicole Brown. He asked them many questions, which we consider to be questions going to Mr. Simpson's character. And we brought that issue up before the court. In my view at the time, the defendant's character was fair game, and I handed the question to Ms. Clark. Usually when I hand Ms. Clark a question, it's a good question. And I don't think she should be held accountable for having asked the question in light of the fact that I handed it to her, in light of the fact that I asked her to ask the question of the witness, and also because I am the person who is responsible for knowing everything there is to know about domestic violence and the defendant's relationship with the victim, Nicole Brown. I reviewed the transcript over the weekend. I noted the question that Mr. Shapiro asked Mr. Kalin. I noted our objection. I had forgotten the other day about the court's ruling that it was irrelevant when I handed her the question. Also, by the way, I just thought it was fair character evidence, or a fair issue of character evidence at the time when I asked the question. I don't think any prejudice has accrued to the defendant. The jury has heard a lot about their past relationship, their past violent relationship, that he called her names, that he used profanities, that he said he might be pathologically jealous. The jury has heard the 1993 tape. I think the jury has a fair, some indication as to the true nature of their relationship. I can't see how he might be prejudiced. I expect that at some point during this trial that the jury is going to hear from Michelle Abduran, and I expect that she is going to testify to having opened that door and to the defendant having dragged the witness out of the room.
Well, Mr. Dart, let me ask you this though: what basis do we have, or did we have, to ask the question regarding Michelle Abduran with Mr. Kalin, given the fact that Mr. Kalin was not acquainted with too?
Character evidence, Your Honor. Is he aware? Does he know? He has testified to the defendant's good character. Character is an issue now. We felt that we had the right to ask him if he knew of things relating to his bad character.
But the question was couched in this manner.
Sorry, Your Honor.
The question was couched in this manner. Was Mr. Kalin aware did he recall that Michelle was the one who opened the door to let the defendant into the room to beat Nicole in 1989? That hardly is couched as a reputation question.
Well, That was my view. It was my view that it was character evidence, a character evidence related question. Ms. Clark phrased it in the manner that she did. Obviously, she took the piece of paper from me and asked the question a moment later, relying on my implied representation that the question was appropriate. What else can I say?
Was there any indication that Mr. Kalin was going to answer this question in the affirmative? He was aware of this incident?
I know that Mr. Kalin had a very, very close relationship with Nicole Brown. This information is commonly known to people who knew her and who knew of the 1989 incident. Questions were asked about their relationship or about his knowledge of their relationship over our objection on many occasions. So whether he was aware of that, I don't know. I don't know. But the jury will hear this evidence, unless the court precludes it. It's going to come out.
As to the 89 incident?
As to the 89 incident.
All right, do you have any comment as to Mr. Shapiro's request that I admonish the jury that that question, that there was no good faith basis for that question to be asked, and that it was not appropriate for you to ask that question, or for Ms. Clark to ask that question?
Well, I think that many questions have been proffered by the defense to witnesses in bad faith. Throughout this trial, witnesses have testified to incidents where they were not present. They have testified on issues where they had neither the knowledge or the training, or otherwise I felt incompetent to testify on those issues. The court has on many occasions, since Mr. Shapiro began his cross-examination of Detective Van Adder, advised the jury to disregard the implications of certain questions.
No, that wasn't the penalty.
Okay. And I think as well that the defense has a history.
As I did with this last question.
As you did with this last question just the other day. All of us, I think, sometimes we're in the attack mode and we attack. This is a trial. There was nothing malicious behind our asking of the question. I assume that when Mr. Shapiro asked the many questions that he asked the witnesses, in which the court had to admonish the jury to disregard the answer or the implication of the question, I assume that he didn't act maliciously either. I don't think sanctions are appropriate at this point. The court admonished the jury, and I think the admonition was fairly strong. I think we should just proceed on with the trial. Hopefully it won't happen again.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Darden. Mr. Shapiro, any response?
No, that's it.
If I can just add one other thing. I would just like to point out to the court, for the record as well, that on many occasions the defense proffered questions to witnesses on issues or matters that they know that only the defendant could testify to. Okay. And we've objected, and the court has admonished the jury, and the court has sustained some of those objections. But as the court may recall, there were instances where there were a series of questions, 4 to 5 at a time, where the court found the questions inappropriate.
But this was rather a broad this is just this question, though, was out of the blue.
Well, it's my question. So when you say it's out of the blue, perhaps it was out of the blue. I'm here to do more than just die on my sword for Ms. Clark and for the prosecution. I asked the question, Judge. Pardon?
Fall on my sword.
Oh, well, I want to fall and die on it and go somewhere else.
You just said fall on my sword.
It's my fault.
Got kamikaze on the brain.
Character on this question.
That's hilarious. He said it.
Continue to ask these questions of these witnesses that go to character, and I can assure the court that I am.
That's the most I've seen the Japanese come out in the trial ever.
We're going to be approaching the court asking permission to.
Because he said it twice in a row.
To present a few days of bad
something like
character.
you would do.
Thank you, counsel. Any brief response, Mr. Shapiro?
Your Honor, I don't think the issue is who's at fault. I think the issue is the damage that was done and the lack of professionalism in presenting it. Further, I think the court can easily find the pattern of conduct over the last 3 weeks at the end of Friday's sessions. One session we ended with questions regarding whether or not Mr. Simpson suffered a cut on his knuckle. The people are well aware that evidence will be presented to show that that cut took place in Chicago, and that the investigators were aware of it, and that there was evidence of that by Mr. Simpson getting a Band-Aid from the clerk when he checked out, by having a broken glass in the bathroom, and having blood on a towel and on a sheet in the room in which he was staying. I had already pointed out the problem with the Bronco, which any minor investigation, any simple question
Luc
would point out this is standard equipment, and wasn't as the people had wanted the jury to find something that was premeditated to go and have a bag to bury a body, which was the spin for the weekend that was put out. And then we have this conduct that comes again right at the end of the court session. That is something that has never been brought out. This is a witness who has probably been interviewed by the prosecution as much or more than any other witness in the case. This is somebody they view as an essential witness. This is somebody that they voice displeasure with in their questions and try to impeach based on credibility. And this was a question that was asked in a malicious way.
Well, Mr. Shapiro, let me ask you this. Assuming that I'm willing to tell the jury that the question was not appropriate, is that really what you want me to do? Because if you recollect from the transcript of our proceedings Thursday afternoon, I told them that the question was not appropriate. I, in fact, told them that the record, which at this point is undisputed, was that Mr. Kalin did not have any personal knowledge of any of these individuals until late 1992, and that it was impossible for him to have an answer to that question. And I told the jury that the question was inappropriate. Now, if I am to admonish them again, as per your request, it's to highlight the question and answer again. Is that what you want me to do?
That is not our purpose nor the intention that we are seeking.
No, I mean, but that's going to be the effect that I'm...
Not necessarily. What we're concerned with is our team has been sanctioned twice for conduct that did not take place in front of the jury. And the jury has been told that we were sanctioned. And those sanctions were very stern and very onerous.
No. Jury has not been told about this.
My recollection is the jury was told that the conduct of counsel was wrong.
That's with regards to the opening statement issues.
Yes. And
the Rosa Lopez matters are if and when Rosa Lopez is brought to testify.
And if that happens, then they will also be made aware, and our client will suffer as a result. We believe this jury should know that sanctions have been imposed on the prosecution, that this was not like any other question that was asked, that this was in fact a bad faith question, and that the jury should consider the motivation of the person asking such a question. Yes, we want that done.
All right. Thank you, counsel. All right, let's have the jurors, please. Let the record reflect we have now been rejoined by all the members of our jury panel. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Dr. Swanson's on the wrong team.
We were in session last
You clearly
Thursday.
was there because of Lisa Frank.
A question was posed to Mr. Kalin at the end of our session regarding an incident in 1989.
They got their own doctor.
That incident you have heard some testimony about already. And as I indicated to you, the question and answer to Mr. Kalin that closed the session was with regards to Mr. Kalin's knowledge regarding that 1989 incident. And as we know, Mr. Kalin had no contact with any of these people prior to late 1992, and thus had no way of knowing anything personally about those incidents. In propounding questions to witnesses, counsel must have a good faith belief that that witness has competent evidence to offer with regards to that subject matter. And as I indicated to you, I sustained the objection to that question to Mr. Kalin because I felt there was a lack of a good faith belief that Mr. Kalin would have good information, competent information with regard to that issue, and I found the question to be inappropriate. Oftentimes you will note that I sustain objections to questions, and I occasionally instruct you that you should only consider the question for the meaning that it gives to the answer. And you should not assume to be true any implication that is suggested by the question. And that applies to this particular question and answer as well. All right, Ms. Clark, you may resume. Excuse me, I'm sorry, Mr. Kalin, good morning. You're reminded you're still under oath. Ms. Clark, you may resume with your direct examination. Excuse me, redirect.
Daphne.
Good morning. Now, Mr. Kalin, you
He's so
lived
big,
in
he
the
can-
Rockingham location from January of 1994 until June of 1994. Is that correct?
Yes.
And who was living in the house at that time when you were living there?
On Rockingham, OJ and Arnell, myself and Gigi, off and on.
And when Gigi was not there, who else was there?
Who would visit?
No, who was the maid?
Before that was Michelle.
Laugh
Were you
it
living
up,
there when
buddy.
she was living
Laugh
there?
it up.
Yes.
I know that was Matt Sorum.
Did you interact with her on a daily basis?
If I would see her, yeah, pretty much. She'd be there every day and I'd see her.
And did you discuss with her her relationship with Nicole?
Sustained.
Get it.
Did you see Nicole when she would come to visit Rockingham?
Sometimes, yes.
Did you speak to Michelle?
Yes.
And did you speak to Nicole?
Yes.
And I believe you earlier testified that you were aware that there was a situation where Nicole and Michelle would not be at Rockingham at the same time?
Right.
Yes.
And were you aware of the reason for that?
They didn't like each other.
And did you ever see them at Rockingham together at the same time?
In the house at the same time, but not in the same area.
Okay. And how did you become aware of the fact that they did not like each other?
Sustained.
Did you speak to Michelle about it?
She would bring things up.
About Nicole?
Yes.
Did Nicole bring up things about Michelle?
Sustained.
All right, you indicated that you thought Nicole and OJ got along well when you were discussing this matter with Mr. Shapiro on examination. Is that right?
Off and on, yes.
You didn't. But you also testified that you did not know what OJ did from day to day. Is that right?
Yes.
You also testified that you didn't know where the defendant went and what he did on a day-to-day basis. Is that right?
Yes.
Yet you testified to the nature of the relationship of the defendant and Nicole.
Sustained.
On what do you base your opinion of the relationship of the defendant and Nicole if you did not see him or her on a daily basis?
Oh, you understand the question, sir?
Anthony Kiedis.
No.
Rephrase the question.
Say it again.
You stated an opinion that the defendant and Nicole had a good relationship for the time that you knew them. Do you recall that?
Yes.
You also testified you did not see the defendant on a daily basis. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
You also testified you did not see Nicole from January to June on a daily basis. Is that correct?
Correct.
On what do you base your opinion of their relationship if you saw neither one of them on a daily basis?
Well, on a daily basis, I would not see them. I'm going on when I did see, at times when I did see it.
From January to June of 1994, how many times did you see them together?
January to June. Six or seven.
6 or 7.
At both places, both residences.
At Bundy?
Bundy, mostly at Rockingham.
How many times at Bundy?
Twice.
If this pulls the goalie,
And what were you
that'll be
doing at
awesome.
Bundy at that time?
I was doing something for the kids. I don't remember what. watching a movie or something like that.
Did the defendant bring you with him to Bundy to watch the children?
No.
Then how did you get to Bundy?
I drove.
You drove over there?
Yes.
Was that at Nicole's request?
No, I don't think it was her request. I just showed up.
You invited yourself?
I guess.
And when did that occur?
Like probably 4 months before.
Like in February of '94?
Pulls the goalie too. You're good.
Didn't you earlier testify, sir, that you and Nicole, your relationship went through a major change after you moved into Rockingham?
Yes.
And that you were no longer friendly? You remember testifying to that?
I was friendly.
But she was not.
Probably not as friendly as before. Yes.
Yes, don't you recall testifying that she told you she felt
Get us out of here.
you'd been manipulated by the defendant?
Yes.